When you think of Theodore Roosevelt, what comes to mind? Probably the soldier, right? The cowboy, the president. He's like the patron saint of just getting it done. But here's the thing. What if I told you that whole persona, that absolute mountain of a man, was a choice? That he literally built himself from the ground up? Well, that's what we're going to dive into.
So let's start with a really provocative question. Think about it for a second. What if your greatest weakness wasn't actually a weakness at all? What if it was a choice, something you could actively decide to overcome? That idea right there is the absolute core of the Roosevelt mindset.
Okay, so to really get the man, you have to start with the boy. And believe me, the boy was the polar opposite of the legend we all know today. Just try to picture this. A young Teddy Roosevelt, so frail and so racked by these violent asthma attacks that it literally felt like he was being strangled. I mean, he was so sickly that just lying down flat to sleep could have killed him. He had to sleep sitting up. This is not the guy who would go on to charge up San Juan Hill. No way. This was a little boy who couldn't even catch his own breath. And you know what the doctors told him? Their advice was basically, give up. Just stay quiet. Don't strain yourself. Just accept your limits. That was supposed to be his destiny. A quiet, passive life, shrinking away from any real challenge.
But his father saw something else. He looked at his son and laid down a challenge that would change everything. He said, Theodore, you have the mind, but you have not the body. You must make your body. I mean, wow, that's not just advice, is it? That's a command, a call to action. The responsibility wasn't on anyone else. It was on Teddy. He had to build the body that could match his brilliant mind.
And you know what? That's exactly what he did. He didn't just accept the challenge, he made it his life's mission. And this is where the legend of the bull moose really starts to take shape. Yeah, and this is a really important point. For Teddy, this wasn't about joining a gym or, getting in shape for the summer. It was an all-out war, a campaign against his own weakness. He spent his entire teenage years just systematically attacking his own frailty, boxing, hiking, lifting weights, pushing and pushing until his body finally had no choice but to surrender to his will.
Okay, so let's fast forward a bit. The ultimate test of this body he had built, it came on October 14th, 1912. He's campaigning in Milwaukee. A would-be assassin steps out and shoots him, point blank, in the chest. The bullet lodges in his rib. I mean, for you, for me, for any normal person, that's it. You're either dead or your career is over, period. But Roosevelt's reaction, it was anything but normal. He literally coughed into his hand, checked for blood, to see if his lung was punctured, and when he didn't see any, he basically just shrugged it off and decided he was good to go. He then walked up to the podium and delivered a full 90-minute speech with a bullet in his chest. And he told the stunned crowd, it takes more than that to kill a bull moose. Just think about that. That one line perfectly captures the persona he had spent his entire life forging. He wasn't just a man anymore. He had become a force of nature. He was the bull moose. So, okay, that's an incredible story, but what does it mean for us, right? How can we actually apply this to our own lives? Because it's not just about being tough. There's a specific, repeatable framework here for building yourself up. So let's break it down. All right, it really comes down to 3 core principles. First up, build the machine. Roosevelt was adamant about this. Your physical state totally dictates your mental state. You have to master your body so it doesn't master you. That's the foundation for everything. Next, step 2, the and philosophy. This is all about refusing to be put in a box, rejecting those limiting labels people try to stick on you. And finally, step 3, action over everything. This is the big one, the belief that actually doing something, that productive struggle, is always better than just sitting around and thinking about your problems. This slide shows that and philosophy perfectly. See, on the left, that's the or mindset most of us get stuck in. You're either a jock or a nerd. You're an artist or a business person. But Roosevelt, he lived in the and mindset. He was a boxer and a world-renowned author who wrote over 35 books. He was a soldier and a Nobel Peace Prize winner. He just refused to choose one thing. He insisted on being everything, and because of that, he lived this incredibly rich, multidimensional life. In all of this, it all builds to the final, and maybe the most important principle. This is the engine that powered his entire life. So what was his secret sauce? It comes down to this idea of sincere intensity.
Think of it as being totally, completely, 100% all in on whatever you're doing. He wasn't worried about looking cool or afraid of looking ridiculous. His only goal was to move forward. And that raw authenticity, that's why people were so drawn to him then and why we're still talking about him today. And maybe the most powerful example of this comes from the worst day of his life. Can you imagine losing your wife and your mother on the exact same day? It's unthinkable. Most people would just spiral. But he didn't. He chose action over grief. He literally packed up, moved out to the Dakota Territories, and became a ranchman. He threw himself into that hard, punishing life and used that struggle to process his pain and, piece by piece, rebuild himself.
Okay, so what does this all mean for you and me right now? How do we take this philosophy from 100 years ago and actually make it real in our own lives?
Well, Roosevelt actually gave us the answer himself. He said, "Far and away, the best prize that life has to offer is the chance to work hard at work worth doing." See, the whole point of building yourself up, of living this strenuous life, it isn't just about being tough for the sake of being tough. It's about building a machine, you, that's capable of doing meaningful work. The prize isn't at the end of the road. The prize is the work. So at the end of the day, building that bully mindset, it's not about being aggressive or pushing people around, not at all. It's about having the strength, the will, the sincere intensity to go after your purpose. So the question is life really leaves us with is a simple one, but a big one. What is your work worth doing? What's the great challenge out there that's going to require you to build your body, to forge your mind, and to make your spirit